Hey guys, welcome to the channel. This is my post-fight for UFC Vegas 25. Jiri Prochazka took on Dominick Reyes in the main event, and what an absolute crazy main event it was. For everybody who joined me on the live watch-along for the main event and the whole entire card, I appreciate you guys. It was fun. Can't wait to do it more in the future. But this main event was just insane. Jiri Prochazka KOs him in the second round with a spinning back elbow and what was probably one of the knockouts of the year. But the entire fight was amazing, start to finish. From the very first second to the last second, it was crazy. In the first round, and this fight went down pretty much how I predicted. If you go back and look at my prediction video, it kind of went down how I thought it would. And one of the things that I called spot on is that Dominick Reyes nose is just a liability. But anyway, first round, Jiri Prochazka comes out, hands down, just moving forward, constant pressure on Dominick Reyes. He's landing some good shots, but Reyes is landing some good shots too. Reyes landed a nice body kick in the first round, but for the most part, the first round is Jiri Prochazka just pressing forward, landing nasty shots. At one point, Jiri kind of is pressing forward, overcommits in the center of the octagon. Dominick Reyes ducks under one of his punches, grabs the body lock, takes him down. Starts landing a little bit of ground and pound on him, but only holds him down for about 30 seconds before Jiri Prochazka pops back up to his feet and just starts doing exactly what he was doing before. Reyes landed a couple decent leg kicks, which I said was a key to victory for him in this fight. Jiri has such a wide stance. And he's susceptible to leg kicks, and Reyes has some great leg kicks. But Reyes didn't really have a chance to get him off. Jiri was just pressure, nonstop the entire fight. It was just the majority of the fight could be summarized by Jiri's pressing forward. Dominick Reyes has his back against the cage. Dominick Reyes is shelling up and then countering. Some of Jiri's shots are getting through. Some of Dominick Reyes' shots are getting through. They're both landing heavy punches, but Jiri's getting the better of the striking exchanges. By the end of the first round, and I said this in a pre-fight, Dominick Reyes has those nose issues. He's constantly dealing with a broken nose. He broke it in the Jan Blachowicz fight. He's broken it in previous fights. I think the Volkan Ozdemir fight, he probably broke it too. I can't remember for sure which fights it was, but I know he broke it in the Jan Blachowicz fight. But you've seen time and time again with fighters who have these nose issues, it's a constant problem for them. There's no fixing it, and it doesn't matter how much time off they have. Time and time again, they're just breaking their nose. So at the end of the first round, I thought it was looking great for Prochazka. I thought he was going to win the fight. I already predicted him to win second round TKO, so I was pretty close with my prediction. I'm actually 12-2 in picking main events this year. The only two picks that I got wrong this year so far is McGregor. And I picked McGregor over Poirier, and I picked Curtis Blades over Derek Lewis. So I'm 12-2 now. So at the end of the first round, I said, okay, Jiri's got this. But man, he gets so wild, and he was eating quite a few shots. Dominick Reyes was shelling up and then throwing back every single time, and he was landing some pretty hard shots himself. And Jiri's pretty good at rolling with the punches, but with his hands down at his waist, it's hard not to see him potentially getting KO'd by somebody with some potentially more power than Dominick Reyes. So I was a little bit leery of Jiri kind of rushing in and potentially getting caught. But I think it's so hard for Reyes to generate power when he's constantly on his back foot. He's just backing up nonstop. Just can't get Jiri off him. So second round comes out. Dominick Reyes just looks like he's been in a 4-round absolute war. It's only been 1 round at this point. And it just looks like it doesn't look good for Dominick Reyes. The beginning of the round starts to go almost exactly how the first round went. It's Jiri pressing forward, landing good shots. Dominick Reyes shelling up, eating some of the shots, but also blocking quite a few of them, and then countering back. And at one point, I think it was a left hand, Dominick Reyes lands on Jiri Prochazka's jaw and rocks him badly. His legs start to give out. It starts to look like rubber. And Dominick Reyes sees it and immediately steps forward to kind of, begin to initiate, some aggressive, striking, maybe looking for a finish. The second he steps in, Jiri shoots in on a double leg takedown, and Reyes grabs up his neck looking for a guillotine, immediately pulls guard. I think this was a mistake in my opinion. Obviously, if he would have got the guillotine, nobody would have been crying. But he pulls full guard, is unable to get the submission. Jiri eventually pulls his neck out. It looked a little bit tight at the beginning, but not really. I never thought once he had it, I don't think. Eventually, Jiri gets out of it, starts landing some good ground and pound. Eventually, Jiri stands completely up. He's no longer a grounded opponent. And Dominick Reyes lands a nasty up kick. And Yuri's passing the side control simultaneously. And for a second, it almost looked like he gets KO'd. But he doesn't. He just got hit and he got hurt pretty badly from it. He lands a little bit more ground and pound after that. Jiri beats him up on the ground. Reyes just looks like, at this point, he looks worse than he did, in any of his previous fights as far as damage. He just looks like he's been in a crazy back and forth fight. Meanwhile, Jiri still looks super fresh, which is, his stamina was impressive tonight. That was something we weren't 100% sure of. He has very limited fights in the UFC, and it's kind of hard to tell. But with his output tonight, the fact that he was still barely tired after 2 rounds, basically, was super impressive. But anyway, Dominick Reyes kind of explodes back to his feet. Yuri's following him, just pressuring him nonstop. Strikes, uppercuts, jumping knees. Every different strike that he can throw at Dominick Reyes, he is throwing at him. And he finally goes for a standing elbow, and it grazes Dominick Reyes a little bit. And Dominick Reyes kind of has his guard up a little bit. And then as he almost has his back turned to Reyes, Reyes lets his guard down. And Jiri uses his body weight and his momentum of throwing that first original elbow and throws a spinning back elbow and absolutely flatlines Dominick Reyes. Lands flat on his face, out cold, brutal KO, potentially KO of the year. The fight was only 2 rounds, but it could have been fight of the year. And it was such an impressive performance by Jiri Prochazka. I don't think there's anybody who would argue him getting a title fight after this. And again, he only has 2 fights in the UFC. He's only beat Volkan Ozdemir by KO and now Dominick Reyes by KO. But Dominick Reyes is a big win. For me, I've never been super high on Dominick Reyes. But he's the number 3 guy in the world. I guess that says something. And Dominick Reyes is a quality fighter. Light heavyweight division isn't, super stacked to begin with. It's starting to kind of, build up a little bit. You got guys like Alexander Rakic making his way up. Jiri Prochazka making his way. Jan Blachowicz, new champion. Not new champion, but John Jones is no longer the top of the division. So you have some of these fresh guys coming in, some of these fresh matchups. And Dana White said coming into this fight, the winner of the main event will get a title shot. We already have Glover Teixeira versus Jan Blachowicz for the belt later this year. I think it's in August or September. It's already announced. So a lot can happen between now and then. So I don't know if Yuri's going to get the title shot next. Before this Reyes fight was originally announced, I wanted to see Jiri Prochazka versus Alexander Rakic. Now, I love that fight, but I don't know if I want to kill off one of the contenders because both those guys could potentially fight for the belt in the future. So it's kind of like, it sucks because I want to see them fight each other, but at the same time, I'd like to see both of them fight for a belt. So it's a little bit of a weird scenario. Rakic is coming off that kind of boring win against Thiago Santos, but Jiri Prochazka, he is must watch. You cannot miss a Jiri Prochazka fight. Jiri Prochazka, however you pronounce it. I always mess up some of these pronunciations on names. It's hard. But I don't think anybody would argue against him getting a title shot just off the sheer impressiveness of the performance. He never even looked remotely tired against a guy like Dominick Reyes. Dominick Reyes lands some nice body kicks on him. He was hurt in that second round badly. Shoots in on the takedown, avoids the submission. So he kind of shows the well-roundedness to his game. I think he probably needs one more fight before he gets a title shot. And also, if you don't have Glover Teixeira versus Jan Blachowicz fighting till, September or whatever it is, I think it's UFC 265 or 266, I don't remember. That's a long time to sit out because who knows, potentially whoever wins that fight won't be ready till next year. So I think Jiri probably fights another fight. I think, a guy with power like Jan Blachowicz could potentially put Jiri out. Jiri rolls with the punch as well. But that chin is wide open all fight, and those hands are just by his side nonstop. He never picks up his hands almost to block anything. He just uses head movement. But, man, what a performance. That fight was a super amazing performance by Jiri Prochazka. I can't wait to see his next fight. I don't care who he fights next. I will be tuning in. To put a beat down on a guy like Dominick Reyes, who's super athletic, and to make him look after 1 round as if he fought 5 rounds. That's an impressive performance no matter who you are. So we'll see where he goes from here. I'm excited to see where he goes from here. I think he will be a title contender in the future regardless. Let's talk about some other fights on the card. So one fight I want to get out of the way real quick is a prelim fight. Randa Markos versus Luana Pinheiro, or however you pronounce her name, which was a super weird fight. And I'll say it right now, Luana flopped. I just have a hard time believing what happened. So anyway, Randa Markos was losing the fight. She gets eye poked. Her eye starts bleeding. She needs a little bit of time, but she recovers and returns to fight. The second she returns, she got super aggressive. She hit another gear when she came out. Eventually, at some point, they end up on the ground. Luna is kind of in a weird, stacked position in full guard on one knee, and Randa throws an up kick and lands. Now, anybody who's seen the video, it's almost like Luana kind of backs up almost to catch herself a little bit. She's looking over at the referee. I've seen it in slow motion. Then all of a sudden, she throws her hand back and flops down like she's knocked completely unconscious. I don't know why she did it if she did, because she was winning the fight. It was a super weird delayed reaction, but that happens in KO sometimes. But for my personal opinion, 100% she flopped. I don't know why. The referee then disqualified Markos, gives Luana the victory. Just a shitty situation to see. She got poked in the eye. She didn't say she couldn't continue anymore and get a DQ. And I know people have to watch their kicks, have to watch their illegal knees, but still, it is what it is. But I just wanted to talk about that prelim fight really quick. The other fight to talk about is Giga Chikadze, I think is how you pronounce his name. What an absolute performance by Giga. He hits Cub Swanson with an absolute beautiful body kick right to the liver, just shuts Cub Swanson off, follows up with some ground and pound. Referee steps in, first round TKO. Then he goes in the back and calls out Max Holloway. Can you not respect that? He's calling out one of the pound-for-pound best featherweights in the world. Some people think he's still champion, should be the champion. Some people think he beat Alexander Volkanovski twice, but, he didn't. But just have the confidence to come out there and then destroy Cub Swanson with that beautiful place kick, and then call out Max Holloway. There's nobody calling out Max Holloway right now. Nobody. So, there's not much to say about the fight. His striking looked crisp. He looked super technical. But the fight only lasted a minute. So, there's not really much analysis to say other than amazing fight. Love the fight. Love the performance. Can't wait to see where Giga goes from here. He says he's the best striker in the UFC, so I can't wait to see it tested. I would love to see him fight Calvin Kattar, Max Holloway next, one of those two guys. I don't think that's going to happen. I think the Max Holloway is a big step up in competition, but I kind of like seeing some of these guys thrown to the wolves, so maybe that'll happen. Anyway, I don't really, none of these other fights are really worth talking about too much. Ion Cutelaba versus Dustin Jacoby went to a split draw. One guy had it for Jacoby, one guy had it for Cutelaba, and then one guy had it a draw, which means they had a 10-8 for Cutelaba in the first round, and then had it Jacoby winning the last two rounds. I had Cutelaba the first round, Jacoby the last two rounds. I didn't have it as a 10-8, but the rules are kind of wonky. Some people say give it a 10-8, some people say not. Cutelaba just kind of gassed himself out in that first round and then lost the rest of the fight. He looked exhausted in the second and third round. I kind of wanted Cutelaba to lose just based on the way he was acting at the weigh-ins, grabbing people. I don't like that. And he's always doing some type of antics. He acted weird about Ankalaev, and then he gets brutally KO'd by him after, talking mad shit for months, it seemed like. So, I think that pretty much does it for this post-fight of the card. The real talking point is Jiri Prochazka. I can't wait to see him in his next fight, and I hope it's soon. Because that fight was absolutely amazing. Could be fight of the year, even though it only went 2 rounds. So, if you guys enjoyed this post-fight, make sure to like the video. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.